let's come to our part. You are a forest range officer, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Have you heard about our recent parliamentary committee that has endorsed Forest Act 1980 amendments that were endorsed by parliamentary committee?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What were those issues which were bone of contention there? Became
Yes,
little
sir.
controversial.
So the Forest Conservation Act of 1980 provides for the provisions for diverting lands from the forestry to the non-forest purposes. So it's a legislation which will take over any kind of diversion interests that are being done on the forest areas. So the recent amendments, there has been issues where the non-forestry purposes, the kind of legislation measures that have been taken place in form of amendments where the private interests can be benefited from these recent amendments. So that is the issue. Actually, I have to revise it, sir, because my mains this time I couldn't revise it properly. Sorry, sir, I'm not able to recollect, but this is what the issue is.
Okay. And before, if you have if you know if you have don't if you don't know anything about or if you know partially, please tell it before starting.
Yes, sir. Okay,
Directly
okay,
don't jump into the answer. Sir,
okay,
sir,
okay,
I have read it, but I'm unable to recall it now.
recollected.
Yes, recall. And partially I have information, little bit, which I can share you. Okay, the present Maharashtra, as you have mentioned, పార్లమెంటరీ కమిటీ రీసెంట్ గా మనం దాని గురించి ఒక హిందూ ఎడిటోరియల్ ఎంటైర్ వీక్స్ కంపైలేషన్ అని మీ వాట్సాప్ గ్రూప్ లో అప్లోడ్ చేస్తాం. And first, second, I'm continuing the session now. Second aspect is about recent Manipur issue. Have you gone through?
Yes, sir.
So, if you see historically, the northeastern part has been integrated into India territorially only, territorially only, but not yet integrated. What is your comment about it?
Sir, I would say it is territorially as well as the unity and diversity principle of India is very well seen in the Northeast integration part of India. It has been contributing administratively, cultural, and the pluralistic aspect of India, this part of the country. I would say that there are little bit skirmishes because of the ethnic conflicts that have been occurring in recent past. But we have to also see the Indian aspect of how it has embrace this diversity through negotiations and conciliations in Nagaland or Mizoram, in any parts of the Northeast in the recent times. And this Manipur is a new issue which will definitely be solved by the government. This is what my view of opinions are.
And okay, I consider your opinion. It is very positive notion. But when it comes to practical reality, Northeast India has been integrated by a government of India in terms of providing them employment opportunities and laws which are protecting them and mainstream society to be integrated with them in many aspects, right? Still, Northeast people at the ground level are having that ethnic affiliation very strong, which is leading to such kind of communal affiliation, communalism, and also the ethnic conflict which is showing is very uncivilized and brutal. And is our policy supporting the conservatism of these ethnic societies?
So conservative is in the sense the ethical identity or the kind of practices that they do, it's being conserved with the policy of the government of India. Yet the any kind of uncivilized activities or the atrocities that have been occurring, it won't be at all supported by the government of India, sir. That is the reason it is being taken the steps. And if we see in the past this decade also, the only the issue of the claiming ST status for Maithis has become an issue. Apart from it, the state was under peaceful conditions until now, sir.
Yes. Um, okay. And with respect to Northeast, it is justifiable. Your answer is justifiable and acceptable. The same principle will be applied with respect to uniform civil code because is it relevant for the present Indian society due to this kind of ethnic strong affiliation? First point. And second, will it homogenize Indian society or embrace the diversity which is inherent strength of Indian society? bringing this uniform civil?
Bringing uniform civil code, as also emphasized by uh, B.R. Ambedkar sir also, that it is to give the choice of equality for all the women, irrespective of any faith or any caste or any of the religion aspect as such. Because every Indian, when India can adhere or criminal procedure code or any kind of code, it must also because it brings in uniformity. Any kind of religious conditions can be subjugated to any uh, demeaning conditions, sir. So I would say I would go for my opinion for the uniform civil code implementation, sir.
That's good. One more suggestion I would like to give. Your presentation is very good and extremely confident. I appreciate your answers also. They are very balanced and they are maintaining that kind of a balanced attitude in terms of listen. 5 minutes. Very balanced. Okay, fine. And one thing in terms of your verbal communication is accurate, exact, precise. With respect to non-verbal communication, when you started, it is fine. And when you are going in the midst, your body is moving front and back, and at the same time, a little bit head movement is increasing.
Okay.
So
Okay, sir.
yeah, that you should be natural only. Don't need to be more
Yes.
conscious. You are involving, that is good, but at the same time, a little bit just the professionality of your personality, which is depicted in the initial part, can be continued the same moment. Is kept.
Okay, sir. Sure, sir.
Okay. And next, coming to this same uniforms, will it homogenize or embrace the diversity? That I haven't got a little bit more information, right?
Yes, sir. It's not about homogenization, sir. It will embrace the diversity. Yet they follow any kind of principles. It's only in the marriage, divorce, and the legal property or disputes, any kind of inheritance that they would be getting. So this legislation will bring changes with respect to that, which is a very minuscule part of the conditions that they have been occurring. So it is actually embracing the kind of diversity. That diversity is still being maintained with the UCC rather than it is a kind of homogenization only in a smaller aspect, sir.
Okay, and then can you give me a few examples of uniform laws that are brought by India, which have embraced diversity rather than homogenizing?
Embrace diversity in the sense,
Any laws that are brought by India? Yes, uniform criminal code.
yes, sir. Indian Penal Code, we have criminal procedure codes.
It is uniform only, irrespective of religion, caste, gender. So it is no way threat to Indian society and national strength, that is plurality, right? And also, few countries, Western countries, which are following this uniform civil code, like USA, it is very cosmopolitan in nature, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
yes, yes. So you can give those examples,
Yes, sir.
right? Apart from your general theoretical understanding and knowledge and experience. Please give on practical reality and application of those principles.
Yes, sir.
Okay? And next thing, the part of recent debtor policy of China. Okay? And Sri Lanka has been victimized because of the debtor policy. The Chinese aggression is being witnessed across Indo-Pacific region. And
Yes, sir.
recently, Prime Minister of India also addressed peaceful coexistence of Indo-Pacific region with the relationship with USA, right? The
Yes,
relationship
sir.
between India and US bring that peace. This is an indication that is counter to China too.
Yes, sir.
Okay? What are your perspective? What is your perspective? The that Indians foreign policy, Indian foreign policy, which is countering Chinese policy. What is your perspective? Is it aggressive according to the lines of China, or is it balanced?
Indian foreign policy ever since the independence, through the non-aligned movement or the Panchsheel agreement with China, in every aspect, India has been realistic and hoping towards a very strategic partnership, yet maintaining the ties, peaceful and friendly ties with all the countries. Made with the neighborhood first policy with the Nepal and Sri Lanka and all the Southeast Asian nations, or the Indo-Pacific strategy with the US and the Australia or Japan kind of countries, sir. India has always been building ties on mutual benefits with the cultural as well as defense related or many other aspects, not like China. China, on the other hand, it is building on an aggressive nature to counterbalance the India, because India aspires to be the 5 trillion economy very soon, and it is one of the most powerful countries that are being emerged. If you see, the Chinese policy is to make sure that undertakes African and Sri Lankan projects, whichever are under debt and which are not being completed. So that is a kind of a policy which is very, I would say, antithetical to the principles of the global multilateral governance. Whereas India is always there in terms of peacekeeping efforts, peacekeeping forces at the UN, or the kind of support it has given as a pharma capital of world in during the COVID. So India is totally different in its perspective. It's on a positive line, sir.
It is very balanced. So the debt policy of China in the Indo-Pacific part, which is and also neighboring country that is Sri Lanka, is being countered by India in terms of its soft capital that is invested in the Indo-Pacific
Yes,
part, and also its alliance with USA and Quad countries.
yes, sir.
It is very balanced, very nice, and the information that you have is immense and comprehensive. Your approach is very comprehensive, and you are
Thank you.
confident about answering questions, and your spontaneity is very good. And your eye to eye contact and your kind of non-verbal communication is very apt the demand of the actual exam that is happening here now. And you are, I think you are an UPSC as you are a UPSC aspirant. You might have cleared this exam UPSC.
Yes, sir.
I think నేను అనుకుంటున్నాను మీరు యూపీఎస్సీ రాస్తున్నారా ఇయర్ ఇంకా నెక్స్ట్ ఇయర్ అంటే
Yes, sir. This time mains రాస్తున్నాను, sir.
రాస్తున్నారు డెఫినెట్లీ ఐ హోప్ యూ విల్ డెఫినెట్లీ క్లియర్ దిస్ ఎగ్జామ్ and
Thank you.
I will share a document which is having previous year questions based on each of the micro level components of UPSC.
Okay.
Okay, one is for example, మీరు చిన్న టాపిక్ ఆర్ట్ అండ్ కల్చర్ లో చిన్న పాపులేటరీ ఏరియాలో కూడా వచ్చిన ఏమన్నా క్వశ్చన్స్ ఉన్నాయా లాస్ట్ ఇయర్స్ సెగ్రిగేట్ చేశాను మైక్రో లెవెల్
Yes,
మెయిన్స్ క్వశ్చన్ ఆన్సర్స్ సో అవి మీకు
yes,
పంపిస్తాను ఒకసారి చూడండి ఈలోపు
yes,
ఈ రెగ్యులర్ ప్రాక్టీస్ ఏదైతే ఉందో ఈ సెషన్స్ అటెండ్ చేస్తుంది అండ్ మాక్ ఇంటర్వ్యూ ప్యానల్ ఎక్స్పర్ట్ ప్యానల్ వస్తుంది కదా
yes.
అక్కడికి అది కూడా మీరు ఇక్కడ ఆఫ్లైన్ లో వీలైతే విజిట్ చేసి అది అటెండ్ చేయడానికి ట్రై చేయండి.
అంటే ఇప్పుడు యాక్చువల్ గా ఈ మెయిన్స్ ఉందనే సార్ దాని మీద ఫోకస్. యాక్చువల్లీ ఏంటంటే లాస్ట్ టైం ఏపీఎస్సి ఇంటర్వ్యూ కూడా వెళ్ళాను.
అవును
అక్కడ ఏంటంటే చాలా డిఫరెంట్ గా ఉంటది సార్. మనం అనుకుంటాము అవుతుంది అనుకుంటాం, కానీ డిఫరెంట్. ఎందుకంటే ఇంటర్వ్యూ లాస్ట్ టైం చాలా బాగా వెళ్ళింది. ఎట్ ఐ
అవును
వాస్ నాట్